Welcome back. Here we are again, and we've got so much more information we want to cover. One of the things we don't talk about much is the fact that we have so many veteran organizations, and you'll see older gentlemen there. We're having difficulty attracting the younger troops. Dan, what's the reason for this, and what's going on?
Well, let's look at the Vietnam veterans. I mean,
okay.
I'm 70 years old. Probably in another 10 years, the Vietnam Veterans Organization won't exist.
Why not?
Just there's going to be too many who have passed and not enough to carry on the chapters.
Okay.
Obviously, I mean, you're looking at the end 1974, and a number of years since then. That's a long time. With our organization, if you look at the end of Vietnam and the end of Desert Storm, it's almost 30 years.
Yeah.
In that time period, there were really no, you had Grenada, but there was probably on an average, I think the last I read was like 2,500 Purple Heart recipients from various entities in there. So we have that large gap. And we're not getting a lot of the younger veterans. My reasoning is they're going probably like you and I were when we got out. If they're married, they've got to have a family and a career. That's their main focus. And
taking care of family.
Yeah,
yes.
They may join an organization, but they're not really going to be active.
Okay. They just don't have the time.
I've got 3 members right now who are younger guy, actually 4 now. 3 of them have TBI.
Okay.
So they have no really short-term memory. They have a very difficult time.
How about TBI for those that may not know what that is?
That's traumatic brain injury. Normally, for a long time, it wasn't recognized as an award for a Purple Heart because the veteran wasn't bleeding per se, but the trauma that the roadside bombs cause and everything obviously is not visible, but it's there. And then I have one other guy who spent 22 years as a Marine, and he's, other than the post-traumatic stress, he's doing well.
Okay.
The majority of our active people are all like me in their late 60s, early 70s that volunteer on an everyday basis. So
okay.
The VFW, disabled vets, American Legion, a lot of those will probably still continue because there's really no requirement to be with any war per se. So,
okay.
But I think a lot of the VVA, the Vietnam veterans, and like us as a Purple Heart, we do a lot of veteran support. So our worries are what's going to happen to that.
Okay.
And a lot of the young guys getting out now with the trauma they have with amputees and everything, majority of them are getting absorbed by wounded warriors. But they're not really active in the cities helping for the local veterans. They're more facilitated around the whole county. So, and as you know, every year, Wounded Warrior brings veterans into Vegas at the Bellagio, gives them a whole weekend free and
yep,
everything.
That's right.
So, obviously, that's not something we have the money to do. So,
but it's nice if we could.
It'd be very nice.
Yes.
It'd be very nice.
So we have the Military Order of the Purple Heart, but we just don't have people that are coming into the chapters like we'd like them to.
Correct. And we're looking at, I have actually 4 veteran service advocates. They're not officers, they're not certified, but they actually operate under an advocate. We help on an average right now about 100 veterans a month with claims and family issues or getting records or getting missing awards, whatever the case may be. And then last year, obviously, our big one was the Survivor Handbook. And I just got a grant from the Nevada Departments of Veteran Services to have 600 copies made.
Let's talk about the Survivor's Handbook. I used to talk about that on the show quite a bit. And it's one of the things that Chapter 730, Military Order of the Purple Heart, has put together. And Survivor's Handbook, I tell all veterans, you should do this for your family. It's something that the veteran has to put together because When a veteran passes away, families don't know what to do. You know, Dan talked earlier about remains being unclaimed. There's so many other things that are being unclaimed because families just don't know. Those are some of the problems. But if the veteran looks at this survivor's handbook and follow the directions in there, there's a packet that's put together for the family, the spouse, whoever. When the veteran passes away, all they've got to do, they've got everything they need right there for VA compensation and all the other compensations that a veteran has already earned just by the nature of serving his or her country. So veterans, I'm going to encourage you again, get a copy of this survivor's handbook, follow it through, prepare a packet for your family. If you have any questions about how to get one, contact Dan, or you can contact me, and you can contact me always through the TV station if you want to. So, but contact us. Survivor's Handbook, put together by Military Order of the Purple Heart. Very, very important. I'm going to keep on harping on that.
And you can, that's also on our website, which is different than the one on the screen. It's at www.purpleheart730.org. You can download that in a digital format.
Oh, great. Even better.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have no excuse for not having one.
Nope.
Why don't you give that website one more time?
www.purpleheart730.org. And with my phone number, if you don't have internet or access, I'll be happy to mail you a hard copy. So, no excuse.
Hey, you can't beat this. This is what it's all about. Veterans helping veterans, veterans helping veterans and their families. And okay,
I was probably like you when I really went through that and I set up the accordion folder, and
yep.
I was astounded by what I had to go dig up. You know, I was
yes.
like things that I thought I had all my stuff in, my ducks in a row, but I didn't. So, and a lot of these young guys that did, you know, one tour, 3 or 4 years and got out. Who knows where all their paperwork is?
Absolutely.
But that's the thing, we can help veterans getting those records, their personnel files, their medical records, all that stuff. So I got people who can help with that also.
And I won't say that we procrastinate a lot. When I first got the Survivor's Handbook and I started putting mine together, it took me a year to do it because I kept procrastinating, saying, I know I'm going to be able to do it. And then I realized the disservice I'd be doing to my wife if I did not put it together. In front of mine, I have a table of contents. So all she's got to do is look at this to see my service, my DD Form 214, my driver's license, insurance policies, marriage license, you name it. Everything is in that folder. And when you look at the Survivor's Handbook, it'll tell you all the things you need.
The sad thing is how that facilitated was I had 2 veterans in my chapter pass within 6 months 2 years ago. And I had 2 wives in tears at one of our meetings explaining to us they didn't know where anything of their husbands was.
Yep.
And I said, we can't let that happen in the future. We took care of them and got everything done, but it was a painstaking effort. And then Richard Kern, who was my junior vice commander at that time, put it together. He became Patriot of the Year for the chapter, Patriot of the Year for the department, and was runner-up for national for that. So no excuse, you know how to get a copy.
Copies are available, and it's definitely something that's needed. Like I said, mine has a table of contents in the front, so my wife will be able to find anything she needs. But it did take me a long time to put it together, and now I have a reminder in my phone to remind me each month if there's any changes, to put that change in there.
Yeah, one thing too that a lot of people didn't know, you can pre-register it. If you want to be buried at the Southern Nevada Veterans Home or Cemetery, you can download the form,
yes,
fill it out, send it in with a copy of your 214, and you're good to go. You'll get a copy back saying you're approved. Your spouse can also be buried there, but there is a small fee for that right now.
And right now I have reservations for myself and my spouse. And one of the things, she asked me the question, what happens if you're gone and I change my mind? I said, it's easy.
Yeah,
if you don't want it, but at least you have it if you do want it.
Right.
So at least what Dan just said, go ahead and fill it out. That's something else that should be in that folder. And mine is.
Yep, mine is too.
Reservations are there. Okay, we've got so much more we want to talk about, and we don't want to run out of time again. So talk about some other stuff that you've got going on.
Well, I think the quick one would be November 11th, 2018 is actually the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. Normally, the veteran ceremony is held at the Southern Nevada Veterans Cemetery. This year it's going to be a little different. It's going to be hosted by Governor Sandoval at the Southern Nevada Veterans Home in Boulder City. So instead of turning right to go to the cemetery, you turn left to go up the hill. And we're looking at over 1,000 people to attend that.
Oh, great.
And there's actually going to be a little pin acknowledging the 100th anniversary that'll be given to everybody who shows up.
Okay.
Now that's going to be after the Las Vegas parade, which ends about noon. So right now everything's scheduled to begin about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So if you get a chance, come out, acknowledge the anniversary of the end of World War I.
That sounds great. I know we're going to have a lot of things going on within Nye County and Pahrump, but there's so much to do, and this is certainly something that you might be interested in. Now, there's some. What about the Purple Heart Plaza in Henderson? Now, I know we're not going to be able to say a lot about that, but I wanted to whet their appetite. Just give us a brief introduction, and then we'll finish it up in the next session.
Well, again, Henderson became the first Purple Heart city. And since then, we've developed a very good rapport with the city on acknowledging us. There's some banners on the Water Street. There's a sign acknowledging the Purple Heart City. And the city just went through a big revitalization of the downtown Water Street business area. And they had a small piece of land they weren't sure what to do with. So somebody said, let's put a plaza there. And then obviously, since the mayor's son is a Silver Star winner, and I've got another two city council member, one's a veteran and one's father is a Purple Heart recipient.
Okay.
Said, well, why don't we make it a Purple Heart Plaza? And it's not a park because it's not big enough to be a park,
Okay.
but it is a plaza, a little smaller, and I can talk more about that. But we're very proud of it. On August 7th at Purple Heart Day, we had the ribbon cutting, and then our chapter did our Purple Heart ceremony, and then that afternoon I drove down here for your ceremony.
Okay. And you can be a part of this. And this is what we're going to talk about in the final session. So I want you to come back and join us and be ready to take notes. Thank you.